to talk about sovereignty and how sovereignty is prosperity and alchemy being the tool for that. The version of you that complains cannot coexist with the version of you that wins. One will survive, one has to dissolve. They can't both coexist, really, if you want to reach your goals and evolve in life. So you have to make a choice. Because self-pity is a luxury you can't afford on the path of sovereignty. Self-responsibility is sacred, and integrity is the initiation. Integrity, doing the right thing when no one's looking. It's between you and God, your relationship with God. So, are you devout in your practice? Are you doing your sadhana every day? Doing the right things when no one is looking. Accountability is alchemy. Being aware of your thoughts and emotions as the observer, and then using that energy, like getting that energy from haters to increase your vastness. But taking the accountability and using it as alchemy, so like when things are thrown at you, because life isn't fair or whatever it had, to be able to transmute those things. Look at the problems as portals. Learning how to create wisdom and resilience from painful experience, and recognizing that the struggles are worthwhile. They are worth how they sculpt you and what you become, so that you become that new version, the pressure becoming the diamond. And these activities serve and satisfy the brain in ways that something that you're addicted to never could. So it's like the addictions equal being enslaved to your desires. The lowers, the primal instincts, the lustful things, and you create unhealthy attachments. You can desire, but without dependency, without being enslaved to your desires. You could it's completely healthy to attach to things, but it's having the ability to detach from them. Kind of like I used the metaphor of the little boy who got his foot caught in the street during a flood. Sometimes, no matter how hard it will be, we do have to cut off a little piece of ourselves in order to survive, in order to evolve and grow and move forward. So it's kind of like alchemy is like that saying. They say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. But alchemy, being able to add sprinkle that little bit of sugar and add the water to it to make lemonade and create a healthy, tasty beverage to quench your thirst and nourish and soothe the soul on that hot day. This is how you reclaim the throne within. You don't rise by blaming the world. You rise by owning your power, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. Sovereignty isn't gifted, it's earned. It's the choice between the two, and then having an acceptance. Having the ability to accept the truth. Acceptance of surrendering over the ego and all the protection mechanisms that try to keep us safe and comfortable. So in truth, we work on getting to the truth here. With this practice, we're eliminating all that we're not. We're going in and we're clearing out the subconscious, right? The subconscious that's been recording our entire life since we're an infant in a crib, developing our beliefs, our emotions, how we react to things, who we are. But we're not the mind, we're not the body, we're not the emotions. Sovereignty is earned in silence, and it's the choice to self-govern when no one's watching, your relationship to God. You got to hold your word like a blade and your values like a vow. Too many people submit to their ego. Like, LA is such a great place for developing a good, strong discernment. People can be very predatory here. Unfortunately, it's more common for people's words to not really have value in today's world, right? Some are disillusioned or inflated or distorted by their ego. They're not bad people, they just don't have a capacity, right? Like they're imprisoned by fear or whatever is still keeping them imprisoned of their trauma or their past, and they can't commit, they can't follow through. And because they have this subconscious fear where if they put themselves out there, make themselves vulnerable, show you who they are, and do their best, that it won't be good enough. So there's a lot of people that hold back and they go, well, it wasn't my best, when they fail. But that's how you really grow, is when you do your best and you do fail. Then you find out the right way to do it, or persistence, eventually you do overcome that. And then you do level up. That's how you earn the honors. and the badges. So perhaps some people are a slave of their own idea of themselves, because the truth does not require your participation to exist. And some people, unfortunately, are captive of their capacity, and they stay comfortable like water in the glass, right? Because they're not ready to become the ocean. People are capable of meeting you only at the depth that they've met themselves. Sometimes it's a subconscious fear in people that they won't be good enough because of some of their relationships. They didn't get the validation or the love from their parents. I've worked with people before that were, $100 million trust fund kids, but, they never got love from their parents. They got those things, but their parents just were like, here, take this. And that's all they wanted was love. And so they just were eternally tortured. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to when you come to an ice cold pool and you go and you dip your toe in and you see how freezing it is, and the shock kind of goes through your whole body, and you go, maybe I'll wait till it gets warmer. And you come back the next day, and maybe even just the sight of the pool, you go through all those feelings again, feeling freezing and cold, and you say, I'll do it another time, instead of just jumping in and letting it shock your nervous system. And then there'll be that moment where you have the transition to where this is quite refreshing and enjoyable, and then you adapt to it, and you're like, what was I so scared of? Why was I so resistant to this? So with this, we're digging deeper in the shadows with this practice and eliminating. So a lot of times when you're a deep and intense person who keeps their word, a lot of people get a subconscious fear of that. They can be repelled, or they sense the intense energy and the commitment, and people can pull back that aren't ready for that. It can be intimidating. And so when your word is unbreakable, some people it makes some people uneasy, but it also repels BS. And you being in that way, you develop the ability to see through BS, and it doesn't suck your energy. So then you become more aware of how you invest your energy in the relationships that you have. And being on this path, you notice that a lot of relationships that you used to have, you start to they fade away, or you're not even speaking the same language so much anymore. And so sovereignty is saying, it's like taking a vow and saying, I will no longer outsource my power to people, systems, or stories that were never built for my freedom in the first place. The indoctrination. So no savior is coming. You are the one. You were always the one. It has to be. You can't expect or give your power away and expect miracles to happen. You have to do the work. Choose your crown of your consciousness, expanding your awareness to evolve. So sovereignty is prosperity, empowering yourself, being sovereign, not dependent on the way other people feel about you or how people will save you. You have to be the one. It's awakening the soul's intelligence within the body. The truth will find you eventually, even if you don't go looking for it.